appears that Zee-Sony merger may just be coming through in days and weeks to come. This is because Zee-Sony both are sitting at a table again to perhaps save the merger. There is a last-ditch attempt being made to save that $10 billion mega merger, which will perhaps change the dynamics of media and entertainment space in the country. Kartik, will they, won't they? It's just, keeps changing every week, every month on month. On 22nd of January, that mega merger, after a year and a half of negotiations, clearances, was called off. Yeah. Now they're speaking again.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, as we were discussing in the morning, Shweta, it was pretty much, the case of the runaway bride. Just before tying the knot, some jitters, hey, that's not the person I want to get married to, let me run away, and off went Sony. But yeah, looks like the runaway bride is back on the table. And this is something that ET has reported, in fact, this morning. So we haven't been able to independently verify that. But it seems that within the next 24 to 48 hours, as per ET, there is going to be some sort of a reconciliation and some sort of a movement ahead in the merger to finally take shape. Now, remember what happened was this 2-year, $10 billion deal in the making, just in the nick of time after Sony missed yet another deadline, which was extended by Sony in a 1-month in good faith clause. That deadline by Zee again got missed on the 21st of Jan, and on the 22nd of Jan, I remember this was the day of Pran Pratishtha, opening of the Ram Janmabhoomi temple in Ayodhya, and that is when Sony in fact decided to say that it's pulling the plug on this merger and not going ahead. And then there was arbitration, and there were courts and the doors of courts being knocked.
There was a tweet by Puneet Goenka, who was attending that Pran Pratishtha.
Who said that there's a message from God and all of that. But yeah, so then
the message from God has changed.
Yeah, it seems that God is hinting, nudging that what, maybe I didn't mean that, and let's do something else. But anyway, a little more seriously, SAIC back then, the Singapore International Arbitration Center, said that NCLT would be ruling in this matter, and then the case has been with NCLT for a while. We don't know if NCLT has the will exercise the authority to push forcibly Sony into the merger. But from what it seems right now, there are two issues on which, and this again is as per the Economic Times report, that there is likely to be these two main issues which now Zee seems to be, I beg your pardon, softening its stand on. One, of course, being the fact that Puneet Goenka may no longer be CEO and at best will serve only in an advisory capacity on the new formed board of the merged entity if the merger does go through. And the second is Sony wants Zee to write off the $300 million cricket rights which it had gotten into partnership on the assumption that this Zee-Sony deal will go through with Disney. So that $300 million Disney cricket rights deal, which Zee had voluntarily walked into for broadcast telecast rights, hoping that there would be money coming in with the Sony merger and they'll be able to fulfill that. And the fact that Disney is now looking perhaps at Zee not being the partner for those cricket rights. So Sony wants Zee to underwrite that $300 million before it comes back on the table and goes ahead with any discussion around a merger now. But it seems that, yeah, Sony has also not found it easy to navigate the arbitration.
Very unlike Japanese people to go back on their word than to come back on the table.
Yeah, well, but I think, business is business. So at the end of the day, it has to mean something for shareholders, and Sony has to justify the amount of time and money it has spent over the last 2 years. And what is the next best alternative if the deal with Zee does not go through? Zee, of course, as we know, has, despite, the Zee Entertainment stable turning a profit again in Q3 at about 53,000 crores and losses for Z5 narrowing, still in the range of about 200 crores or so. But overall, Zee still holding in India at least a larger pie of the ad revenue. Sony will also find it difficult to not go ahead with the merger, continue with these legal arbitration for a while.
And I'm just spitballing here, but
broadly, yeah, it seems that, if Zee is able to soften its stand on Puneet Goenka not being CEO and underwriting the $300 million deal, then there could be some way ahead for this merger to go through.
It is looking like way ahead for Zee-Sony merger to go through. It appears that Zee and Sony are once again sitting at the table. Hopefully will decide on whether they want to give it one last try.